Now, from Indiana's most watched news station.
Masked robbers jump across the counter at a Cumberland restaurant and force a high school senior to the ground.
I was just hoping I wasn't going to die. I was just hoping I wasn't going to get shot.
Tonight, the new warning police have for these thieves.
House 27 is the busiest Indianapolis firehouse in the city.
You can go from planning your meal or cleaning the bathrooms to being on a house fire within about 4 minutes.
Tonight, Fox 59 goes behind the badge to show you a day in the life of an Indianapolis firefighter.
Very cold night and a foggy one too. Freezing fog is in the forecast. I'll let you know when this weather will finally brighten up and when the temperatures will warm up coming up.
And there's a special purpose behind this Christmas tree in Boone County. How it's honoring those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Now on Fox 59 News at 10. And we start tonight with breaking news. A Dollar General customer shot and killed in Cumberland tonight. Authorities say it all happened during an armed robbery. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Dan Spieler.
And I'm Tanae Howard. This shooting happened at the Dollar General on East Washington Street. And now, as you can see, this is right down the street from where a Pizza King was also robbed on Friday.
Yeah, right next door. Fox 59's Lindsay Eaton is live in Cumberland tonight. Lindsay, what are you hearing from the police at this hour?
Yes, we just got on scene here, and this is the closest police are letting us to the scene. I'm going to step out of the way and just give you a look here. Still a very developing scene out here. This is what we know so far. Around 7:45 tonight, police were called to this Dollar General in Cumberland for an attempted robbery. Officials have confirmed just about 10 minutes ago a customer was shot and killed during this attempted robbery. We are still waiting on word from police of any arrests and how many suspects were involved. Now, this scene is off of East Washington Street here in Cumberland, and I was just out here earlier tonight covering an armed robbery that happened at the Pizza King on Friday night. And just to give you an idea, if you look over my shoulder, this Dollar General is right next door to this Pizza King. Now, in that armed robbery, the victim in that armed robbery was a teenage girl, and those suspects were caught on camera.
I really just wanted to run away. I was just hoping I wasn't going to die.
Armed robbers caught on camera, one after another after another. The three thieves jumped right over the front counter with guns drawn.
They had their finger on the trigger. They were ready to go. If I was not going to follow their instructions, they were ready to shoot.
17-year-old Grace was one of the two employees inside the Cumberland Pizza King Friday night. This robbery happened 15 minutes before closing time. Grace says she was forced to the ground, and the thieves made it clear they wanted cash.
He came over to me and he pointed the gun at me and had his hand on my back and the gun to my back.
The video shows the other employee opening the cash register for the robbers, and they clean it out. They were wearing gloves and hid their faces. They even go to the kitchen and the office looking for more money.
I didn't even get the tips for that night because they took them.
This robbery wasn't a quick hit. They were inside the restaurant for nearly 3 minutes. Police are certain these thieves have done this before.
They were definitely comfortable in doing this, and they've unfortunately probably succeeded a lot more than they have failed.
So far this year, there have been 26 business robberies reported in Cumberland. That's more than double the amount last year. Investigators know these three are tied to a bigger ring, possibly connected to several other thefts, including the robberies that happened at this Speedway gas station last month. It was hit twice within 9 days.
We're onto them. We do know who they are. It's just a matter of time before they're picked up.
Police want these criminals off the streets, and this teenager wants them to realize they're putting innocent people in danger.
We're human beings too, and we don't deserve this.
Here's another live look at the scene here. Again, this is at the Dollar General off East Washington Street. Again, officials have confirmed a customer was shot and killed during an attempted robbery. We are still waiting on an update from IMPD. As soon as we get that information, of course, we're going to bring it to you. For now, we're live in Cumberland. Lindsay Eaton, back to you.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. So in response to these robberies, Cumberland PD not only has stepped up patrols, they've also switched the times of the shift changes and added some extra officers to certain shifts.
They're trying to make sure their patrols are not routine, just in case these robbers are watching. We'll get you back to Cumberland as more breaking news develops tonight. Right now, let's turn to our forecast with some thick fog in some places tonight here in central Indiana.
See a couple of those images here. You're taking a look at our live camera overlooking downtown Indianapolis. Let's get straight over to your Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist Brian Wilkes to let us know if this is just going to be beautiful or impacting our drives.
It will definitely tomorrow morning today, but we'll start to clear things out. Many of you stayed underneath this heavy cloud cover, low-level fog and dreary conditions. Some of us saw the sun return. We take you up to Hamilton County. This is from Fisher's Alderman Luxury Imports, looking off to the south. That's 37, and look at the flag on the left-hand side of the screen there. It's limp. No wind, lots of frost on the car windshields there, and plenty of fog beginning to thicken up. We'll take you over to Grand Park. You can see pretty foggy there as well. Visibility here on the northwest side has been down all day long. We never saw the sunshine here up at the studios of Fox 59, but it did brighten up for a time downtown. Visibility down to 3/4 of a mile at Zionsville, 1.5 miles in Crawfordsville, and down to 0 at Batesville. That's probably under a 1/4 mile. So we have pockets of pretty dense fog out there with very cold temperatures. Crawfordsville at 13 degrees. The visibility will be a problem throughout the night in nearby eastern Illinois and northwest Indiana. Dense fog advisories have been issued. Fog will be thick, and it'll be some freezing fog as well. Awfully frosty too with this cold air. We've had 7 consecutive days below normal, and is there a pattern change looming? A warm-up is in the works. The trade-off will be some rain chances. I'll have the timing coming up.
All right, thanks, Brian. A tragedy in Castleton as a man dies trying to rescue his dog from an icy pond. And tonight, firefighters have a warning to prevent something like this from happening again, as you see some of these pictures here.
Yeah, so it may be instinct for someone to run in after their pets. They are members of your family for a lot of people, but IFD says that's a situation you have to let them handle.
Fox 59's Haley Bull is downtown tonight at IFD headquarters with that important message from firefighters. Haley.
Firefighters here say 2 men tried to rescue him, but to no avail. Tonight, they're asking you to stay off the ice.
A dog fell in the water, and now a man's trying to rescue the dog. It fell in the water. He's going under the ice.
That's a 911 call of an attempted rescue turned tragedy.
I see the dog in the water and the guy on the ice.
Indianapolis firefighters say a man in his 20s at the Masters Apartments tried to save his dog when it went onto the ice and fell through. 2 neighbors saw it unfold and tried to help.
So I throw it in park, and I just run out there. He falls in when I'm maybe halfway between the road and the lake. I run out. I kind of just slide under the ice. I try and pull myself as much as I can. I get out a certain ways and it starts to break.
So the only thing that I thought about, just jumping inside and try to help, but the ice was so thin. Once I walked in, I went inside, so I tried to go through the ice. So there's other workers, they brought like a rope. It was short. I threw it.
Divers ended up pulling the victim from the water. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. His dog lived.
We haven't had a long enough freeze and a cold enough freeze right now to make the ice to where it's thick enough to walk on. This is not a winter wonderland here. We get really cold and then really warm rather quickly. So our ice really a lot of the times is never really safe.
So firefighters say stay off of it. And if you see a dog or person that's fallen through,
call 911 so we can get out there as quickly as possible, and then use some of those rescue tips, such as a ladder, extension cord, a rope, things like that you can reach out to the person with, so you stay off the ice, but you possibly could give them something to hold on to or help pull them out with.
These men tried to do that, but it didn't work out this time.
I tried. It was so cold.
Firefighters say they usually see a few people who fall through the ice every year, but believe this is the first incident this season. Reporting downtown tonight, Haley Bull, Fox 59 News.
Haley, thank you. A fire at a near East Side homeless shelter forces at least 90 people to temporarily evacuate. It happened at Good News Ministries on Washington Street, and the good news tonight is that people can still stay here.
The biggest thing is it sounds like we should be okay to be able to house any of the guys that are here tonight. Most of the sleeping quarters have been okay.
Thankfully, IFD says no one was hurt. The fire caused $70,000 in damage. Most of that is water damage. Still no word on the cause of the fire.
I just need to know what happened, who's responsible, and like I said, bring them to justice.
A father is desperate for answers tonight on who ended his son's life and why. Dale Howard Jr. is one of 4 men killed in Indianapolis in just the last 2 days. None of them are connected, but all of the families want justice. The latest of these killings happened this morning in an alley on Walnut Street. That killing brings the murder total to 151. That's the exact same number the city saw on this date last year. Investigators need your help in each of these 4 cases.
A death is still a death. A murder is still a murder, and it's something that will not be tolerated.
No arrests have been made. If you know anything that could help solve these cases, please give Crime Stoppers a call.
New developments tonight on the death of a man in Kokomo. Police need your help figuring out why Keith Jewell was killed over the weekend. They want anyone with home surveillance cameras in this area of 400 West Monroe and 1000 North Lindsay to check their cameras from 3 to 5 a.m. yesterday. That shooting happened just a block away from a location where another man was shot. Police found the car that was stolen from the victim in this case, but they didn't find anyone inside. Police have not said if these 2 shootings are connected. Well, a shooting at a Northside Walmart sends a teenager to the hospital. Now police need your help figuring out what happened here. They want you to take a good look at some pictures. We're going to show you right here. You see these surveillance photos. Police say the men you see here, 3 different men, are wanted for questioning in that shooting. A teenager was shot at the Walmart on 86th Street, November 14th. You can see this man is wearing a zip-up jacket and a ball cap. Another has a red and black stocking cap. And this one was wearing all dark clothing. If you know anything about this case or the people you see in these pictures, call Crime Stoppers at 262-TIPS.
Indianapolis firefighters put their lives on the line every day. Tonight, Fox 59 takes you behind the badge to see a day in the life of these heroes.
And a Hoosier makes an anonymous donation that will help children here in our community. Tonight, why he decided to pay it forward.
This Christmas tree has a special meaning. Each bulb hung for a reason.
That's a life. That's a life that matters.
How it's making sure our fallen heroes are never forgotten.
Well, they are some of Indianapolis's bravest first responders running into burning buildings while others run out. But for the men and women of the Indianapolis Fire Department, everyday life is not how it's often portrayed on TV.
Fox 59's Nick McGill shows us the real everyday life of our community's heroes, spending the day with the busiest firehouse in the city.
On primetime TV. Shows like 911 give viewers a so-called glimpse into the chaotic, if not overly dramatic, life of first responders. It's good TV. But here, on the east side of Indianapolis, the life of first responders is different. Less explosive, but perhaps more meaningful.
And I think it's the first job in my life where my alarm goes off in the morning and I'm like, hop out of bed and you're like, I get to go to work. You know, not many jobs are like that. When your alarm goes off, you're like, oh, I gotta go to work.
It's a work that offers one thing, the predictability of being unpredictable. Each day generally starts the same. A few chores help maintain the firehouse. They clean, they tidy. They check their equipment. It usually doesn't take long until...
Engine 27.
You can go from planning your meal or cleaning the bathrooms to being on a house fire within about 4 minutes.
Last year, House 27 responded to more than 5,000 calls. It's the busiest house in the city. An average day could mean rushing out the door nearly 20 times.
A lot of meals interrupted, a lot of sleep interrupted at night, so we run 24/7.
Not every call requires action. This was a suspected gas leak. House 27 was called in as backup, but quickly called off. But about an hour later, someone else needs their help.
What's wrong?
A man has been found passed out behind a gas station. He says it's due to problems with diabetes, but some of his symptoms don't line up with that explanation. It could be an overdose.
He said his sugar was high.
It's hard to tell sometimes. I can tell you any story. Just don't know.
out until you confirm it with the check.
House 27 goes out on 2 more calls before it's time for lunch. A busy morning means a big appetite. It's times like these that bonds are made.
I'm good.
Firefighters will spend a third of their lives together. Strong relationships are important.
It's something special, man. It's these guys here, I love them. They're like family.
Minutes later, they're back at it. 3 more calls in less than 2 hours. Around 5 o'clock, House 27 is called to this intersection. A 15-year-old girl has been hit by a car.
You being the age that you are, it's going to be up to your father whether he wants you to go get checked out.
She'll be fine. But for IFD, this is their reality. Most of their calls nowadays are medical related. At House 27, only about 15% of their calls are for actual fires. The job has changed from years before.
We could have a shooting, a stabbing, a heart attack, an overdose. We get it all around here.
One thing remains the same. It takes a special type of person to do this job.
You hear it all the time, people running out while we run in, and it's just something inside of you. I don't know how to explain it.
Control engine 27.
Within the next 2 hours, the alarm rings 2 more times. More medical runs, more people sick or injured.
I don't know if he got hit in the head or what.
It takes a toll, but then again, that's the job they signed up for.
You guys good? Yeah, we're good. All right. You come in here, you get beat up, mentally, physically, whatever it might be, but 2-3 days later, you come back to work again and you're ready to do it again.
By the time the sun goes down, House 27 has been on 13 different calls. So for a few moments, they've earned some downtime. As they sit down and look out to the community they serve, they reflect on a long day, one that's only about halfway done. They'll get 4 more calls before their shift is over.
It showed 13 runs to this place.
The job isn't what they always thought it'd be. It isn't what it's always portrayed to be. But at the end of the day, there's no job quite like it. What they do matters. It matters to who they serve. It matters to them. And if you ask any one of them, they'll tell you the same thing.
Best job ever.
Best job ever, absolutely.
I don't know how I could do anything else.
We thank them for what they do every day. Well, House 27 is still on track to be the busiest firehouse in the city. They'll be nearing last year's mark of 5,000 total runs.
Very cool. All right, welcoming the crew members of the newest USS Indianapolis. For the first time in more than 70 years, both the USS Indiana and Indianapolis are sailing together. It's the 4th USS Indianapolis to be commissioned in history. And tonight, Hoosiers were invited to meet some of the crew representing our capital city at sea. The sailors serving on board know how much the ship means to this city and to our country.
We've received such incredible love and support from the people of Indianapolis and Indiana. Every time we come here, the outpouring's been incredible, and we're just so honored to take your ship back out to sea.
The crew is currently going through training in Florida, including classes, tests, and simulation in order to bring the ship to life. They're hoping to take delivery next summer.
A pregnant Indiana teenager is found murdered. The connection between her and the 16-year-old accused of killing her.
And 2 men escaped after being crushed by a semi-truck.
There is a purpose for your life. You do have a reason to be living, and
Tonight, the warning, they say, led them to safety.
It was one of them things I didn't think it'd happen around here.
A tragedy in Mishawaka, Indiana. A 17-year-old pregnant girl found dead, and the person accused of killing her is the father of her child. 16-year-old Aaron Trisho is charged with murder and feticide. According to court documents, he said he'd been planning to kill 17-year-old Brianna Rauschelang and the baby for a week. Trisho is a football player at Mishawaka High School. Rauschelang, a former cheerleader there. The two had known each other ever since grade school.
The thing is that most of us are fathers, and any senseless death is very upsetting, but when you're talking about young people, it is more so.
Trejo told police he killed Rauschelang because she waited too long to tell him about the pregnancy. Just a disturbing case there in northern Indiana.
New fallout tonight on the scandal involving former USA Gymnastics Dr. Larry Nassar. The U.S. Olympic Committee fired its chief of sports performance. An independent investigation revealed Alan Ashley failed to protect athletes in Nassar's sex abuse case. The report says Ashley didn't take action until more than 13 months after learning about the incidents that led to Nassar's prison sentence. As we've reported, Indianapolis-based USA Gymnastics is also facing fallout from the Nassar scandal. Just last week, the organization filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It is also looking for a new CEO and faces decertification as the national governing body of the sport.
An anonymous donation to a local police department will go toward children here in our community. Tonight, why this Hoosier decided to step up in a big way.
Each one has the rank and the officer's name.
Paying tribute to our fallen heroes, the special meaning behind this tree.
And the fog continues to thicken up. Visibilities are going down across all of central Indiana, and it's cold too. A frosty, foggy start to your Tuesday, but I'm tracking a warm front when the temperatures will start to rise coming up.
In tonight's top stories, a customer is shot and killed at a Dollar General in Cumberland. Police say it happened during an attempted robbery at the store on East Washington Street just before 8 o'clock tonight. Let's take you live to the scene now. We are still waiting for information to come from police there about the suspects and give us the very latest on what happened there. So on Friday, 3 armed robbers were caught on camera stealing from the Pizza King right next to the Dollar General. Police are still searching for those suspects you see here caught on camera. It's still not known if the 2 robberies are connected.
A tragedy in Castleton as a man dies trying to rescue his dog from an icy pond. Indianapolis firefighters said a man fell through the ice at the Masters Apartments. 2 neighbors tried to save him, but they couldn't reach him. Divers ended up pulling the victim from the water. He was taken to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead. His dog did make it out safely.
A fire at a Near East Side homeless shelter forces at least 90 people to temporarily evacuate. This happened at Good News Ministries on Washington Street. People can still stay there tonight. That is the good news. IFD says no one was hurt. The fire caused $70,000 in damage. Most of that is water damage. No word on what caused the fire.
Keeping an eye on our forecast on another very cold
It
summer.
is. It's just never really seemed to get into second gear today, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that we had heavy fog and cloud cover most of the day. Some areas got the sun, many of sunshine, many of us did not at all. And right now at this hour, the fog is beginning to thicken up again. So this is a brand new camera that we have. Our vantage point from Alderman Luxury Imports, which is along 37 up in Fishers, and that's looking south-southeast. You can see the headlights. That's 37. North and southbound traffic moving along, but notice the flag on the left-hand side of the screen. It's barely moving at all. It's calm there. A lot of frost down the windshields, and you can see the fog has formed. It never really brightened up over parts of Hamilton County, although here and over at Conner Prairie, we did see some late sun. We had clear skies over Indy Hyundai on the east side this afternoon, but there's the fog settling in, and that's our vantage point from downtown at Victory Field. It is a low cloud deck, maybe only up about 1,500 feet, and then beyond that, the skies clear out. It's going to take some time to burn this off. It never did so here at the Golf Club of Indiana. Look at that wintry scene. And right around 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon, the skies did brighten up over downtown Indianapolis, but here and even at our studios on the northwest side, we never really got to the sunshine. This is our camera perspective. Once again, quite the foggy picture. And because there's fog here at the low levels of the atmosphere, the wind is light, the temperatures are so cold, the pockets of heavier fog tonight may produce some freezing fog. A better view and vantage point over downtown Indianapolis. Well, it would be nice to get more sunshine. We had it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But annually, December is the cloudiest month of the year, and December of 2018, still rather young, has only produced 20% of its possible sunshine. Brighter days are in the works, especially tomorrow, but we're going to have to fight off this low-level cloud cover, which includes these areas and pockets of very heavy fog. Visibility now to our south and east has dropped to about 1/4 mile at Batesville. Richmond at 1.7 mile visibility. Out towards Champaign, Illinois, and eastern portions of Illinois and far western Indiana. Danville down to 3/4 of a mile visibility. Frankfort at 1.3. So there are pockets of dense fog. It will get thick for a few hours tonight. And there are advisories out for some dense fog in northwest Indiana and eastern Illinois. The temperatures are cold. It's frosty. And you will be scraping that car windshield early tomorrow morning with temperatures right now that are still hovering in the teens. 18 at Cicero and only 13 degrees in Crawfordsville. Shelbyville checks in at 17. We had a high temperature today that didn't even reach the 30-degree mark, so we started in the teens, finished with highs in the 20s, and here we've gone now, put together a stretch after a very warm start to the month of December, 7 consecutive days below normal. This is key, though. The winds, as light as they are changing direction, and we'll get on the other side of an area of high pressure that will move off to the east. Relative humidity numbers are quite high, so when the temperature and that dew point are nearly equal, that means the relative humidity at nearly 100%. You have condensation at the low levels of the atmosphere, and we do have some fog out there, obviously. Those advisories are up until early tomorrow morning. We'll see some improvement. Give us till about 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll start to brighten up the skies as southwesterly winds develop behind this area of high pressure. We will improve the weather for your Tuesday. But it's Wednesday midweek that a warm front will push clouds right back into central Indiana, likely producing some fog again by early Wednesday morning. That warm front that approaches Wednesday will also bring in a chance for a couple of snow showers, especially as it approaches mid-morning on Wednesday. Temperature-wise, we'll be looking at readings that will once again jump up to around 40 degrees here tomorrow, up to 44 Wednesday, with rain chances likely Thursday and Friday. Friday's high temperature, 48.
All right, thank you, Brian. Let's get you back out to the scene of breaking news. We're hearing from police about what happened in Cumberland.
Yeah, let's take you there live.
Suspect then fled the area on foot north of this location. Immediately, they put up a perimeter of the area. Officers from both Hancock County and the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department responded to assist Cumberland Police Department. Right now, they have an active perimeter for this area. They do have one person of interest at this time. They are questioning them and will continue to look in the area for anything further. At this point in time, this is still early on in the investigation, and they're trying to gather all the facts that they can. It is important that if anyone saw something this evening, especially living right in the area, that they notify Cumberland Police Department as soon as possible.
Janae, is it fair to say this was a robbery?
We believe it was a robbery of a person. At that time, I believe at the beginning of the reports it came out a robbery of the business, but it was not of the business. This never went into the Dollar General.
So the initial reports were that it was a customer?
That's correct. We believe the person was coming out of the business at the point in time, which the suspect then grabbed him at gunpoint and then pulled him into the parking lot.
Do you know if the customer may have known the suspect or suspects?
At this time, it's too early to tell, but we don't believe so.
Someone had posted on social media, man, that the suspect shot his victim in front of a child.
That I do not have information on. I've not heard anything of that nature.
Does the Cumberland Police Department believe this may be related to some of the robberies that have happened along this stretch of the...
The Cumberland Police Department has had an increase in robberies in the last month. A lot of areas during this time period do. And they have increased their patrolling zone, putting extra officers in the area specifically for robberies.
And were these police officers patrolling this area? Is that when they came across this?
This officer that actually watched it initially was here patrolling just for that purpose.
Janae, can you talk about the perimeter? I know you can't give up a lot of details, but you guys have a lot of blocks blocked off here, and it seems like this is still a very active search.
It is still a very active search and scene, and the reason being is, you have a suspect out there with a weapon. We want to be concerned. He's already shot one person. That person was determined to be deceased at the scene, so it's a very sad time for them. But also, if you look around, you have police officers everywhere. We want to make sure everything is safe and the neighborhoods are safe before we release that area.
You said you have one person of interest detained. Are you looking for one other person or more than one?
At this time, we only have one person of interest, and we have a person of that interest detained. Sorry.
Janae, do you foresee any other updates throughout the night, or is this probably the last?
Right now, you know, they will issue an update soon, but it will be via interdepartment to all the desks.
And I'm sorry, kind of reiterating to the residents in this community right now, because this is a very fluid and active search. Make sure your doors are locked. Make sure you're being proactive, right?
Exactly. Make sure your doors are locked. If you hear something, don't hesitate to call the police. Make sure your safety is first. If you see something in a shed, in an unattached garage, in a garage, if someone's shaking your doorknobs, call the police. It's very important to be safe than sorry. This is the holiday season. We shouldn't be experiencing this type of activity. We should all be enjoying the time.
Did you guys have multiple canine dogs out? We were out at the scene where they detained one person and we saw a unit out. Was it just that?
I don't know exactly how many canines were out.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that was the scene there in Cumberland. Live tonight as police talk about the customer who was shot and killed tonight at the Dollar General in Cumberland.
And we were already there earlier today. That's Lindsay's second time going out to that scene. She reported earlier on a 17-year-old working at the Pizza King right next door that was robbed by an armed robber on Friday. Still working to determine if those are connected
And
there.
in fact, police were already in the area tonight with extra patrols when this shooting took place. Of course, call police if you know anything about what may have taken place there. We'll have much more on this breaking news coming up tonight on News Point at 11. Also tonight at 10, the Boone County Sheriff's Office has a new holiday decoration, and this tree is paying tribute to dozens of heroes.
And still ahead tonight on News Point at 11, a warning for the millions of Americans making purchases online this holiday season. We take a look at 2 new phishing scams experts say are making the rounds and what to watch out for in your inbox. Plus,
right place at the right time is everything.
a group in Carmel is helping equip Hoosier heroes with life-saving tools to help them jump into action at a moment's notice. We'll have more tonight on how this project has already given one woman a second chance at life.
Well, right now, the Owen County Humane Society is trying to help a dog in need. You see him right there. Somebody left this dog in a crate by Lieber State Park. The Humane Society says there were icicles hanging from that dog when it was rescued. So far, more than $600 has been raised to help.
The Beach Grove community is remembering a beloved high school athletic director and coach tonight. Matt English died after a long battle with brain cancer. English started his career as a Beach Grove high school teacher in 2008. He became athletic director in 2012. He was also a boys' head basketball coach. The high school basketball court is named in his honor. English was 45 years old. Funeral arrangements are still pending for Mr. English. A major overhaul is coming to one downtown Indy iconic location.
That's right. Pan Am Plaza will soon go through a huge redevelopment project. More hotels, more convention space. Today, Carmel-based Louth Group announced it has purchased the Pan Am Tower and plans to renovate the building. That's a separate project from the development of hotels and convention space. Visit Indy says both projects will contribute to moving downtown forward and bring more business and retail downtown.
A healthy move, a good move when you look at Pan Am Plaza as a whole and where the city is looking to develop.
No word yet on what exactly will happen with Pan Am Tower.
This isn't the only downtown spot with some big upgrades planned. Last week, we told you about Downtown Indy Inc. and the Indiana War Memorials Commission getting about $8 million to update Monument Circle. These plans include light shows synchronized with Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra performances, and each night a salute to veterans. Work on Monument Circle will start next year.
New at 10, an anonymous donation will go toward children in Danville.
The police department there says on Friday a man gave them $600 because he had a positive interaction with an officer on the same date last year.
He's paying it forward, and now Danville police are too. That money will go toward children and families involved in their annual Operation Christmas event. These are pictures from last year's event with the kids.
Yeah, children and their families will shop with an officer, and all items will be paid for and sent home with them.
There's a lot of things that we could have purchased for our department, but it's the time of year, it's the spirit of giving. I mean, we want to, move that forward. Those families are going to benefit way more than we ever could.
Danville police say the man didn't want any credit or recognition for the donation. He wanted to remain anonymous.
This department is like a family. It's an amazing, I'm so honored to represent and to work for this department.
Tonight, the Boone County Sheriff's Department is remembering one of its own.
The department set up this blue Christmas tree tonight to pay tribute to fallen Deputy Jacob Pickett.
Fox 59's Matt Smith shows us how the honor doesn't stop there.
For years, Boone County has decorated for Christmas, but never decorated like this.
There are 137 bulbs here.
137 bulbs for 137 officers.
Each one has the rank and the officer's name.
137 officers who died in the line of duty this year alone, including Boone County's own Deputy Jacob Pickett.
When Jake was killed in the line of duty, as tragic as that was, there is a beauty that came out of it, and this community became even more knit together. So did this department.
After a weekend of work, handwriting each name, today the tree stood tall, illuminating not only the hope of this holiday season, but the reminder that these officers will never be forgotten.
It means a lot to all of us. Like I said, we were all very close. He was a wonderful officer, and it's our way of honoring him.
When the tree comes down, the ornaments will still shine. They'll be sent to each department across the country for whose officer they lost.
That's a life. That's a life that matters. That's a chair that's empty. That's a car that's not being driven. That is an incredible hero that's no longer walking our streets. And so it meant something.
Matt Smith, Fox 59 News.
Meant an awful lot. Boone County first saw the idea from another department in Texas. The ornaments also have the officer's end of watch date, noting the specific day that each officer died in the line of duty.
A massive winter storm dumps rain, sleet, and snow in parts of the Carolinas and Virginia. And tonight, the region is experiencing temperatures below freezing, making it a really bad situation. Even worse, at least 3 people were killed in the storm in North Carolina. The record-breaking storm left hundreds of thousands without power. Some areas saw a year's worth of snowfall in just a matter of hours.
It's deep. It's about a foot. I'm doing parking lots right now, and the tractor won't even push it. It's not strong enough.
North Carolina's governor says cold temperatures today and freezing nights ahead mean that the icy danger may not go away quickly. The temperatures tonight could turn these wet and slushy roads into ice rinks in the morning for those people there.
We have new information tonight on school safety in the Clark Pleasant district. They're already hiring new police officers just a month after voters approved a $12 million referendum for school safety. By this time next month, the district plans to hire 2 new resource officers. They already have 3. Eventually, the goal is to have at least 1 officer assigned to all 8 buildings in the district.
The message we hope it's sending is that safety is our first priority and that we care about the needs of the students.
The district is still deciding whether to start its own police department or continue to rely on officers from surrounding departments. That will likely be decided by a new school safety director the district plans to hire in February. They also want to hire a new coordinator for mental health services. Well, this coming legislative session, school safety will be a top priority for Governor Eric Holcomb and state lawmakers. We told you last week the governor plans to implement all 18 recommendations for school safety outlined in a report released over the summer. His proposals include requiring at least 1 active shooter drill a year, making schools conduct threat assessments by June of 2021, and requiring districts to contract directly with local mental health providers.
It's terrifying. It's scary. It's right around Christmas and we have no idea what we're going to do.
More than 19 apartments in Ellettsville received an eviction notice just weeks before Christmas. Now the people who live there want to know why. A couple says they found out about it through word of mouth and finally from the leaseholder through a text message. Since they pay week to week, an attorney we talked to says this is legal. The leaseholder says the owners want to sell the property without debt or liability, and that's why the tenants need to move. Now some families don't know where to go.
How we're going to find a place? There's not a lot of places available that are at the same price range here.
Tenants will not have to pay rent this month. Some are having trouble getting help from other agencies without a written notice. The leaseholder says he will give them one if they need it.
There is a purpose for your life. You do have a reason to be living, and
Two men are very thankful to be alive tonight. They escaped being crushed by a semi-truck, a semi that plowed through their food truck at full speed.
It would have crushed them too, but they say right before impact they were warned.
We both realized that we knew that the truck was going to get hit before it got hit.
We heard a voice, and it was to get out of the truck and look down, and I saw a semi swerving toward us.
The men were on their way to Philadelphia from Montana. They were raising money for a ministry helping people around the world.
Their truck broke down along the Ohio Turnpike. They were in the back of that truck when they say they heard that voice, and both jumped out with seconds to spare.
the semi-truck came through the food truck but pushed him up against a guardrail, and then he rolled over and rolled down the ditch.
Troopers say they normally would be told to stay in their vehicle, but in this case, if they would have done that, they would have died. After the crash, the men continued on to Philadelphia, Florida, and to California, feeding people at a church. They hope their story is a source of inspiration for people this holiday season. Up next, someone adds a little Christmas cheer to a pretty bumpy ride. What's happening now to this huge sinkhole?
And the IU Hoosiers turning heads in the Big Ten and nationwide. Details coming up on News Point at 11. Plus, the Pacers trying to keep up their winning ways without the services of Victor Oladipo.
With an off day today, many Colts players took some time to spread some Christmas cheer in the community.
Yeah, Colts safety Matthias Farley and several of his teammates took 30 kids from the Indy Police Athletic League on a shopping trip at Meijer. Each kid got a $300 gift card to buy gifts for themselves and their families, with some help from the players today as well.
It's been a bumpy ride lately for some drivers in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and someone decided to have a little bit of fun with it. They stuck an artificial Christmas tree in this sinkhole. There it is. It was decorated with ornaments, star and all. It was Marietta SPAC's attempt to keep drivers from hitting the sinkhole.
We took something ugly and we made it prettier, and 'tis the season, right?
We have a lot of comedians in the area that like to put trees in there. I think it's funny too. Christmas spirit.
Now it looks like the sinkhole will eventually get fixed, but only after that tree and some social media users drew attention to the problem. What a way to do it.
Coming up next on News Point at 11 tonight, a customer is shot and killed in Cumberland in an attempted armed robbery, and it's not the first time this area has been targeted by thieves.
I was just doing whatever they wanted to stay alive.
We have the latest on tonight's shooting investigation amid a series of violent armed robberies. Plus, a man dies trying to save a beloved pet dog from a frozen pond. We hear more tonight from those on the scene of this rescue turned tragedy. And Brian is going to have much more on your forecast coming up in just a bit on News Point. But also, a Carmel-based group is getting life-saving devices in the hands of officers. We'll tell you how one woman already has the project to thank for a second chance at life. Those stories and your full forecast coming up back at the top of the hour after your live Hoosier Lottery drawing.